Here's the cover. Can he do it? Kick out at 2.
We are wrestling fans, and we are the degenerates that like to talk about it. This is Kicking Out at 2. As always, I am Michael. With me is Tori. Hey, Tori.
Hey.
Something took you there for a second?
Yeah, I'm good. Sorry, I'm doing two things at once.
Okay, I said hi. So we're going to talk about Smackdown today. This was the build to Elimination Chamber as we continue on. Elimination Chamber just 7 days away at the time of this recording. So we learn a little bit more about what's going to go into that and learn where we are with the wonderful tag team title match that we're going to have on this episode, where we don't know where Jay is. Kind of the through line through this entire episode is Jimmy is calling Jay, begging him to call him back, begging to let him know to be there. We'll get into a couple of those segments as we go along here. But tonight's episode also includes a fatal four-way match to determine the next challenger for Gunther's Intercontinental title. That's Rey Mysterio, Karrion Kross, Madcap Moss, that rhymes, and Santos Escobar will compete in the match. So let's go ahead and just get it started. So we start off with a Paul Heyman segment. Paul comes out there. We're just going to go ahead and skip through most of the diatribe that he says, because it's just a Paul Heyman promo. He talks about how when he was in charge of Brock Lesnar was the top of the world. He beat the Undertaker, yada, yada, yada. Now that he's part of the bloodline, he's doing the same. He says a very interesting line, though, and he says that Cody Rhodes had mentioned that he was just in a fight for a world title, and everybody always tries to make it personal.
Right.
And he says, it's always been personal, because without these titles, there is no Usos. Without this title, there is no bloodline. Without this title, there is no Paul Heyman. Without this title, there is no Roman Reigns.
There is no island of relevancy.
That's right. The fact that he ended it, though, on Roman Reigns, that to me is a very interesting to say. I wonder how the Tribal Chief is going to react to that. Because that makes it sound like without the titles, you're nothing. At least that's the way it sounded to me. But so after he says this line, he turns his attentions to Sammy. Sammy chants start happening. Big pop happens. Paul has no idea what's going on. It's Sammy behind him. So we have a nice little moment there of Sammy basically just being behind him, promising to beat Reigns for the titles. 8 days in Montreal. The fans broke out into another Sammy chant.
The thing I loved the most about this was when Sammy turned around and put his hand out for the microphone.
Like a very good point.
And he just stood there and looked at Paul, and Paul was like, I'm not doing it. And then he ends up handing it to him just like he does Roman.
So in return, Paul does the same thing. He puts his hand out, has Sammy hand him the mic back. But instead of giving him the mic back, he pulls him in tight for a hug, like Roman does, hugging somebody. And he tells him to make sure to let Roman know that he's coming for him and he's going to take those titles away. Then he just drops the mic, walks away. Paul's kind of on his knees picking up the titles because he was so shocked by what just happened. He actually dropped both belts on the ground. And then we go to our next segment. Next segment is we have Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. I'm not even going to get into the details of this match because they beat Hit Row. That's basically what happened. Beat those boys to the inch of their life.
I feel bad for Hit Row because no one cares, and they're getting done this way. Like, you're the Brooklyn Brawler of 2023. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, so recently we had a situation where it's obvious that Triple H has dropped the storyline for Baron Corbin. It wasn't working. We're just going to drop it. We'll try something else. I feel like that's kind of what he's done here. Hit Row had a thing going, and then he realized no one was backing it. No one was getting into it. So I think this is kind of a
Same
just a
thing.
reset period for them of, okay, well, we're just going to use you to get some people over real quick, and then we'll get back to you later. We'll figure something out.
The problem is, can you get back to him? Does anybody care?
I don't know. The
I
thing that
don't
gets
feel-
me just booking wise, like Top Dollar is a tall dude. Even though he lost all the weight, he's still big. He
Right.
still towers over a lot of people. So why are we making it seem like he's less than Drew or Sheamus? He should be the one standing eye to eye with them.
The and I agree. The problem is they've done nothing to have him show that killer instinct,
Right.
that brutal, I can throw hands with anybody, and so nobody buys it. It doesn't
Yeah. Well, and that's my point. Is
doesn't make
that
any
like
sense.
him not doing that, him just being the guy on the apron, because he never gets tagged in for this match. The only real thing that happens to him is he tries to get in to help Adrian, and he gets kicked in the face, and then that's the end of that. He's done
Yeah.
for that match. So, if they would just book him, even just to have a moment of staring Sheamus or staring Drew in the face, like just kind of bucking up to him, at least give me something. Give me something to think
Right.
that this guy
Give me
could
some
take him on.
kind of yeah. I agree. I don't get it. Today's show brought to you by
There you go. God. In the back, we see Jimmy Uso. This is the first of these little vignettes of, not vignettes, excuse me, backstage check. Him trying to call Jay, but he's not answering. During the match, they also show an inset of Jimmy trying to get a hold of Jay. Really kind of pushing hard on trying to show that he's trying to get a hold of him. Because they show that little inset during the Lacey Evans Carmen Harris, the way we pronounce that, during that match, which, let's be honest, that was the most entertaining thing about that match. As we lead into Lacey Evans versus Carmen, and within 2 minutes, we're done. She hit her with the woman's right, locked in the Cobra Clutch. Ball game, we're done. We're back in the locker room again. Jimmy Uso called Jey Uso again, but still couldn't get a hold of him. So Paul Heyman's there next to him, asking him like what's going on. A little bit of back and forth of just saying, Roman's not here, Solo's not here, Jay needs to be here. Jimmy even states, "Well, Heyman, how about you come out there and help me defend the titles? Come on, have my back, man." Of course, he's like, "No, I'm an advocate." Backed out of that quick, but he did say, "Look, like Jay will show up. Jay's my brother. He's got my back. He'll be here."
right.
Got this up. Of course, Paul seems a little skeptical of that happening. We have a progressive match flow of the week, which recaps Natalya winning the Fatal 4-Way from last week. So good on her for doing that. Nice little fun thing for that. Have you ever seen the doctor who hammers on athletes?
Yes.
So the Neidhart's had an episode of it
Oh, okay.
after this night.
Nice.
So she left that and went to go. I watched like half of it so far, and it's just ridiculous. In the back, Sonya Deville was speaking to Adam Pearce. Deville was furious that she's not in the chamber. Pearce is telling her, "Look, you already had 2 chances at the title. Why do you need to be in the chamber?" She tries to tell him, "Well, it's 2 different things. You're talking about a title match, and this is a chamber match. It's 2 different things." And of course, as has been happening the last few weeks, Chelsea approaches Pierce. Really funny because she's like, "Hey, have you seen the SmackDown manager? I need to make a complaint about the Raw manager." And of course, Adam's like, "It's me, Chelsea. Both are me. It's been me. You've talked to me 3 times now. It's always been me." And she says that she has facial amnesia. Okay. Eventually, Pierce made a match where it's Green and Deville versus Raquel and Liv Morgan for later. So that leads us to the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Usos, going against Ricochet and Braun Strowman.
How is this not the main event?
So I thought about that too, and the only thing I can think is because what plays off after.
And I
You
get
can't do
that.
the after if it's
I
the main
get
event.
that. I get that. You could have put that before.
but specifically the end tag. But what Paul told Jimmy.
That's okay. Yeah, I gotcha.
So maybe if I don't know, maybe if you had Sammy, no, because Sammy would need to be there for the left.
That's
I,
fair. No, I gotcha.
if
I
there was
just
something to prolong the ring segment, have Jimmy walk into the back and maybe Paul just kind of pulls him aside at that point, maybe. But or if they did it maybe by the desk. I don't know.
I
But
don't know. Yeah,
we'll get to that.
I get what you're saying though.
So Usos and Ricochet and Strowman get down to the ring. Jimmy comes out by himself. They even get so much as doing the ring announcement. So Sam is, saying Ricochet and that, and says Jimmy is going to defend it by himself, I guess. And then a couple of beats after that, Jimmy sees Jay, and Jay's coming out from the crowd. And
Which
Jay
was
looks
nice.
hyped.
That was nice. It wasn't through the entrance ramp. It was through the crowd.
So he comes down there. They embrace. So it seems like he's back in line. He's going to be part of this. Let's do this and get it done. Great match. I'm not going to go beat for beat on this, but I am going to talk about specifically the ending. Ricochet is ridiculous.
Yes.
And the timing of this finish was just absolutely perfect. Back it up a little bit. So you've got Jay on the outside. You got Braun Strowman who's trying to do the train and hit him. Split second. Literally, Jay just turned just enough time to see Braun coming. Ducked down. Braun goes ass over tea kettle over the announce table. And he ends up hitting a tag that Ricochet doesn't see while Jimmy and him are on the top rope. So he knocks Jimmy, he being Ricochet, knocks Jimmy off. He hits his
Swanton.
Yeah, hits his swanton. And then he flips that perfectly to land in the middle of the ring. Jimmy's on the top rope of the other side, does this Uso splash. It was all just perfect timing.
Yeah.
Got the 1, 2, 3.
This is one of those things where you can see they've worked together, they know each other. There's a lot of trust with each other. And yeah, no, the way that just kind of banged was perfect.
It was a shooting star. Sorry, it wasn't a
Was
star.
it?
Yeah, it was a shooting star. Because the
He
way he hit it,
that's right. He hit him and then he kind of rolled over. And when he rolled over, seconds later, the other one landed on him, and it was so perfect.
It's almost to hit that right. We didn't see Jay jump. He would have had to jump right when he hit Jimmy to have that just full out perfect. That was really good. But so they're still tag champs. Get a little bit of a segment with them later, which we'll talk about. But this leads into Rey Mysterio discussing the Fatal 4-Way. He's promising he's going to win it. We're back from break. The Usos are walking backstage. Jay says he's always got Jimmy's back. Jimmy wants to know if Jay's still part of the bloodline. He says, I'm not sure. He just kind of walks off. Paul Heyman then kind of creeps up beside Jimmy, says, hey, what did Jimmy say? Or what did Jay say? Said, oh, nothing. He just walked off. So he's covering for his brother.
I was gonna say, but Paul was hiding behind that post and heard them. So this is definitely gonna.
He either heard them that way, or because of what happens later, all of this was seen by Roman. We'll get to that here. So now we get a Natalya Shayna Baszler segment. So Natalya comes out and she's just kind of glad to be back. I'm here. I'm in the Elimination Chamber. I want to punch my ticket. I'm going to go to WrestleMania. Shayna Baszler comes out. He gets called a fake Ronda, which then the entire crowd starts chanting. Or was it knockoff Ronda?
Knockoff Ronda or second-rate Ronda or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, Ronda Rousey knockoff. So they start chanting it. She's getting upset, and she's like, I'm really tired of everybody talking about how I'm a knockoff Ronda Rousey. I was winning championships before Ronda Rousey. I was here in the ring before Ronda Rousey. I was main eventing before Ronda Rousey. And at that point, Ronda's music hits. Um, Inconspicuous a little bit, but she took a little bit to come out. So I was wondering if it was just a swerve, just to cause a distraction for one of the two. But then Ronda does come out, and she kind of just beelines straight for Natalia, but she stops and then she stares at Shayna. So we're kind of wondering, is she mad at Shayna for what she said, or is she coming after Natalia? She does start to go towards Natalia, which Shayna then, checks her, and then it's Natalia, and then they start beating her down. Out comes Shotzi. Poor Shotzi. She gets stuck in the middle of all this stuff again. But Shotzi came up to make the save, which did not work in her favor. They still ended up getting Natalia down. Commentary on this was a little weird for me because it was obvious they were going for the arm.
And they made it sound like they went for her face again.
Yeah, and they're like, well, they missed the nose, so thank goodness for that. No, it was obvious they were planting her arm.
Yeah.
To hit her in the shoulder, and she's selling her shoulder. Like, it's obvious they're setting her up to have an injured arm for a match between them.
Which will either be next week or an Elimination Chamber.
Yep.
I think they made it for next week already.
We're in the parking lot, and Jey Uso's walking out, and then he kind of turns a corner around a semi, and sees Sami Zayn. So Sami just kind of, I'm glad to see you're back. I'm glad to see you're okay. I didn't get a chance to that night, but I wanted to say thank you. Obviously, everybody else was beating him down. He was part of that. Says he knows Reigns, but Jey knows Reigns even better. So he knows that he is not going to be okay with everything that went down. He's not going to let that. So he says, you have an interesting opportunity come Elimination Chamber to have something happen that I know deep down you want to happen. That's him losing those titles. He puts up his fist as they're about to say bye, like a little fist bump. Jey tells him to, get on with that. Don't get out of here. And then he says, I'm leaving. He leaves his fist up there. Finally gives him a little fist bump. Sami walks out. Jimmy walks away too. I do like the sly look around that Jey did. He was just kind of like, all right, no one's looking.
I said, bitch. Exactly what it was. Legit.
Yep. LA Knight backstage spoke with Megan Morant. He refused to talk about refused to talk about the pitch black match and then stormed off. He is getting as far away from that as humanly possible.
Yes, he wants nothing to do with that now.
This leads us to Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan. They went up against Sonya Deville and Chelsea. Decent match, but it was obvious that Sonya and Green were not going to get a lot of offense out of this.
It was obvious they were not winning this.
No, so we ended this up with a miscommunication, and Sonya ends up bumping into Chelsea, knocking her off the screen there. And then Rodriguez hit a powerbomb. Morgan followed up with Oblivion. And then Rodriguez then powerbombed Morgan into Green for the win, which was an interesting little thing there. So fun to see. We have a little backstage segment with Madcap Moss admitting things haven't gone his way. Emma told him he looks great. Moss credited Emma for him looking good because he's got some new gear. I was really hoping not to have Madcap written on the gear because I was hoping maybe we could slip away from that name. But nope, it has Madcap on one side, Moss on the other. Is what it is.
Okay.
Michael Cole had a sit-down interview.
Okay.
Well, I am glad he's not just in black trunks anymore.
I agree, but at
least he's got some look to him. Cole discussed with Flair about her and Rhea Ripley's past. She mentions that back at WrestleMania 39, Ripley has stated that she wasn't quite ready then. She was still young in the business, and that now she's ready. And she says, well, I would hope after 3 years, I'd hope you'd be ready for this. He does state to
That
her,
was
though,
a
that,
great, that was a great line. I should
yeah,
hope you're ready.
yeah. But then she follows that up with saying, yeah, it's 3 years to get to the level you're at, but you're nowhere near my level. It's gonna be a
Lover
good
or
match.
hater,
Can't wait for it to happen.
lover or hater, most people aren't on Charlotte's level.
No.
And
And that's the thing. I don't like her being at the top of the card all the time that she is. However, it's hard to argue that she deserves to be there.
right. Well, and the other side of it is Vince pushed her to the stars because it was Vince. I think Triple H will, if by some chance she loses that title, they're still going to put her in a story that matters, but you don't have to put her right back in the title picture. I mean, she's a 14-time champion.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm at the point now, like, I don't know. I have a hard time buying Natalia beating Bianca. However, like, to
Beating
me,
who?
beating Bianca.
Okay.
Because if Natalia wins the chamber, that's what's
Yeah,
happening.
she
Looks
gets
like they're
Bianca
kind of
Mania.
pushing Natalia, so maybe. But maybe whoever wins the chamber match ends up beating Bianca. It ends up beating Charlotte, and then maybe we get the Bianca Charlotte thing.
And the
Because
title,
that match
you
needs to
don't
happen.
need it. You don't need a title for that. You absolutely
That's
don't.
that's
If you
Charlotte
do,
trying to shut her down, and that's Bianca trying to get that win over the last of the.
and if you do include the title, you can make it part of the story. She's beaten Becky for the title. She beat Bayley for the title. She beat Sasha for the title. There's only one left. So if Bianca loses and Charlotte wins, I won't be surprised if we see that happen somehow. It may not happen till Mania next year, but I see that happening.
I almost think you could play it off too, though, that they have the match without the title first, and then you can
Yeah.
still hold on to that nugget of, like, I beat you, and now I get to beat you for the title. That's just me.
Yeah, that's
So we're at the Fatal 4-Way. You have Madcap Moss, who brings out Emma. You got Karrion Kross, who brings out Charlotte. You got Santos Escobar, who brings out Zelina. And you have Rey Mysterio, who has nobody.
Carrie. Who'd you say Carrie Cross brought out?
Scarlett.
Scarlett, Emma. Ray didn't have anybody. And say okay. I was just running through it. There was a lot of moving parts in this.
There was. However, just a little side note, though, Rey Mysterio did kiss his wife on the way down. She was sitting in the crowd. What looked to be also caught her there. Do feel kind of bad that he had no one in his corner, though.
She should have jumped
Everybody else
around
had
and gone with him.
Shoulda. May have had a little faster reaction time than Vicky did. She was supposed to pull Eddie off the ladder. He's just like, "Where's Vicky?" Wow. I mean, I'm not gonna go through this. It was a hodgepodge of things going on. Some of the greatest stuff to me, though, was Escobar and Mysterio. Them together was absolutely amazing. Hope was something we saw after SmackDown. Maybe we get a little thing with them. Not so much as a heat, but to get respect between them. But
Because as much as they would love for Dom to be the guy luchador wise, unless Andrade comes back, it's Escobar. And that dude is amazing in the ring.
So towards the tail end of this match, Moss and Escobar fight on the top rope. Escobar got the better of Moss and hit a Hurricanrana for the 2 count. Mysterio then hit a 619 on Cross, but Scarlett tripped him up. Cross hit Mysterio in the back of the head, knocking him out. Escobar then tackled Cross to ringside. Moss took advantage of that and did a flying elbow onto Rey for the win. Surprising win. Did not expect that at all.
Okay.
But is what it is. Gunther's going to win that match. Just, we're not giving that to Madcap. I don't think so.
They might. They might.
So we have one final Jimmy Uso segment. We'll go backstage and it's Jimmy Paul Heyman. Paul
Okay,
Heyman approaches.
So I missed this.
Okay, so
That's why I
Paul
don't-
Heyman
okay,
approached
okay.
Jimmy Uso.
Okay.
He just got off the phone with Roman Reigns. He admitted that Jimmy was right and Jay would have his back. He told Jimmy, though, that at Montreal, Roman Reigns is saying he wants the Usos to stay home and watch it on TV because sometimes you see things on TV that you don't see when you're there live. So it sounds like Roman was watching on TV and saw all the crap that went on tonight.
There's a reason for this because I read about it the other day. The Usos can't go to Canada.
Well, no. Yeah,
because of the DUIs and so on. At least one of them can't.
Yeah, Jimmy can't. So I mean, they're not going to be there. However, the way they're spinning that is
okay. But then, how are we going to set up? If they're setting up Sammy, Kevin, Usos for Mania, I would think one of the Usos would cost him that win with Roman.
I mean, there's other ways you can spin it. We've got a little bit of time between now and Mania. I agree that would be the easiest of it is to have one of them do it. But so next week we have Drew and Sheamus. They're going to take on the Viking Raiders. We got Natalya and Shotzi versus Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. We have an Intercontinental Championship match. Gunther defending against Madcap Moss. To be honest, in my opinion, kind of a craptacular one next week. I was
going to say for a go-home show before Chamber,
Yeah, I'm hoping we'll see more stuff. I mean, that's just what we have talked about so far. Roman needs to be there. He needs to be there for that last little setup. This was a decent night overall, though.
It was decent, yeah.
Mainly just because, like the Sammy stuff and the Jimmy and Jay and all that. That was compelling, and the matches were good. Like I don't like Madcap winning that match, but it was a good match. Girls showed out, which was a lot of fun. It was a very short match. I wish it would have been longer and a little more competitive, but they did show out. Chelsea is becoming one of my favorite things on television. For her little Karen bit of
I'm indifferent to her so far. I'm indifferent to her so far, but I can see it having potential for her. The whole I'm better than everybody else. It's just where are they going to go with it? Because you're not going to keep her and Sonya together. She's going to just bounce her back and forth between shows. They make her stay somewhere. Do we think Cardona should? Like, I mean,
yeah. In fact, actually, there's been a Twitter beef between last night.
Between who?
Between Sonya and Chelsea.
Really?
Chelsea's blaming Sonya for the loss, and she's saying, "Well, you hit me, so I'm gonna call the manager on that. Get you written up for it." It's something to the regards of she doesn't know how to be a team player. There's no I in team, which Sonya then replied, "No, but there's an I as in I'm going to whoop your ass." So maybe we get a match between the two. That'd be kind of fun to watch. Some weird way Chelsea can get her first.
Okay, now I have to pull this up here.
I was mentioning thing we saw after between Ray.
So stay away from me, Karen.
There's a thing between Ray and Escobar. We go backstage in the locker room, and Ray's just kind of sitting there mulling over the night, back to the boss and all that. Escobar comes in. He has his mask in his hand. He goes, "As a kid, Dad had a lot of respect for this kid that was starting out, and the kid was you." And came here at one point because I said I was going to take your legacy. But I think I want to make my own. So then he hands him the mask that he wears down to the ring. That I want to give this to you as a sign of respect. Ray then gives him a mask that he has beside him too, and he says, "I want you to take this, and I want you to show or find a way to show that lion inside of you." So a little bit of respect between the two. They shake hands. Kind of like you said, I don't see him and Dominic having big blow off and Dominic takes over the Mysterio and all that. I
think they're going to have the blow off at Mania. I just don't see Dominic being the Latino sensation.
Yeah, no, that's my point. Taking that legacy.
Yeah,
I don't see him doing that. I think Escobar could fit very well in that. He's a good-looking kid. He's great in the ring.
Great on the microphone.
Yeah. So I
I
maybe if they have that match instead, and he kind of
yeah.
takes that on. Not only that, but just looking at Dom, I don't see him as a Rey Mysterio, and so I would hope he would wants to make his own path.
As crazy as it is, I see more of Eddie in him than I do Ray.
Yep. And for anybody who has seen the
anyway.
For anybody who's seen the Twitter beef, that is not Vicky Guerrero's actual Twitter account. Has been talking about how she hates seeing that happen and hates them mentioning Eddie. Yeah. Apparently a Vicky clone account came out and was like, I hate that they keep doing this and they need to keep Eddie's name out of their mouth and comparing him to Eddie. There's no comparison. Da, 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 da. He saw it like a couple of days later and was like, that's not my account. And they have my full support on everything they've been doing. It's amazing.
Vicky said that?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Nice little clapback because of someone who decided they wanted to cosplay as Vicky. But interesting to see what's going to happen in the next 2 episodes. We got Raw and SmackDown coming up, and then that leads us to Elimination Chamber. Now, they did say Elimination Chamber, I think it's going to be on Friday instead of Saturday. Possibly because of the time difference. Or I don't know, because it's Montreal. So
yeah,
it's weird, but they said something about it being on Friday.
No. They were talking about Money in the Bank. The Friday before that, SmackDown is there.
Oh, okay.
So it's probably going to be earlier in the day because it's there.
Gotcha.
Doing SmackDown in. Yeah, they're doing SmackDown there in London. So before Money in the Bank the next day. So that's why. And then, yeah, that was what they said about changing that.
Okay. Well, that closes out this episode. So if you have enjoyed our episode, if you want to support us, if you want to subscribe to us right here on YouTube, then please do so. Follow us on all of the accounts that we have on the screen here. We're fun to talk to. Come check out our TikTok. We're rocking and rolling on that.
Kind of fun to talk to.
If you like middle-aged white people that try to talk about wrestling a lot, then we're fun to talk to.
Sure.
But like and subscribe, click the bell, share all that stuff. If you want to catch our lexicon or back catalog of any of this, definitely catch us right here, youtube.com/kickingout2. As always, I am Michael. This is Tori. We will catch you on the next one.